Hey guys, it's Isaac. I'm here to talk about my motivation project, what it was as a whole, what I decided to transform it into, some of the theories that I think best fit with it, and some of the recommendations based off the theories from the ones that I think best represented what my project was as a whole. So I guess to start off with, my project goal was to get 15 upvotes on a poem that I would post to Reddit. And if you don't know what Reddit is, it's a platform where you can post original content, pretty much whatever you want to, on different subreddits, and then get feedback and comments and upvotes, which are technically likes. So I tried to go for essentially 15 likes on a poem, and try and get that by the end of the semester by posting weekly poems. And after the project was done, I decided to transform it into a podcast. And just with a couple of my friends, we just kind of talked about what my motivation goal was, how I felt through doing it, and just some of the topics of the poems, what I noticed throughout the semester about which poems did better, which poems did worse, and why I thought of that. And to start off with the motivation theories, the three I chose were self-determination theory, self-discrepancy theory, and goal systems theory. So to start off with self-determination theory, that is basically that the three core human motives are to feel autonomous, have some sort, feel competent, and have some sort of sense of belonging. And so one thing I really liked about the project as a whole is that it was very autonomous, whether it was intrinsic value or for extrinsic value. And I think that came along with intrinsic being that we got to choose whatever our project was and how we were going to complete it. And extrinsic is that it was going to be for a grade for the end of the class. And so I think one of the recommendations based off a very early part of self-determination theory is that any goal you pursue should be very autonomous in nature, and that you should have as much control of it as possible, not going through somebody else or maybe telling somebody else what you're going to do, because then they might have some sort of power over you, or you might feel that they have some sort of power over you. And so my second motivational theory was self-discrepancy theory. And that pretty much states that we compare who we want to be, our ideal self, to our actual self, or who we are, our present self. So pretty much comparing of present to the future. And so my ideal self coming into the project would be to be a professional poet. That's like my dream job. But I know that is far out as I'm still in college and I have other interests that I will pursue rather than becoming a poet. And so this was a very brief glimpse into what it might be like to be a professional poet. And so I guess to state that I did complete my goal, which is going to be important for this theory in general, is that so once I did complete my goal, I did feel that my ideal self for the project was a brief glimpse into what it might be like to be a professional poet, and that I was no longer my actual self, which made me feel kind of enlightened. I felt very proud of myself and very happy for where I was at. And so based off that feeling enlightened and feeling very ecstatic for where I was at, I decided to set a second goal, which was not a smart idea because I did not end up achieving or even pretty much working towards that goal, because I felt that I was my ideal self and I didn't really need to go back and kind of become my actual self to become my ideal self the second time. And so that was one recommendation I would take this, is make sure that all your goals are very practical at the beginning. Maybe do a couple test runs of what you might think you want your goal to be, see where your baseline is at. And then you can set targets so you're not underachieving or overachieving, and you're not going to feel kind of these two forces pulling on you, and you're going to be very steady and just feel like you are on course for the entire project. And my third motivational theory was goal systems theory, which is the concept that within your larger goal, so within my getting 15 upvotes, there were smaller goals that I had to achieve first before I could actually achieve that goal of getting 15 upvotes. And so some of those smaller goals would have been to get a journal. So I had to buy a journal. I had to be able to know how to write some of the poetry that I was into. So I took some poetry classes in high school and one in college, and that kind of set me up for what I wanted to do. And then I just had to be able to actually post on Reddit and get feedback, because without the feedback, my project is pretty much nothing at all. And so I guess some of those goals, achieving it to actually get the 15, also kind of tie along with self-determination theory and feeling competent. The second two parts with feeling competent and feeling a sense of belonging, because I did feel competent when I was achieving my goal and I was getting all those upvotes and comments when I did achieve my goal, which kind of led into me feeling a sense of belonging in an online community, which is very different from feeling a sense of an in-person community, because you really aren't introduced. You're sort of feeling your individuality is introduced into it. You're kind of introducing yourself, and then you are accepted into it through yourself pretty much. And so one recommendation I would have for any goal is that after you have finished your goal, try and find some people who have finished similar goals and talk about what you thought about the goal in general. So after I finished my goal, I kind of posted a little bit on Reddit about what I thought about the goal and how it affected me. And I got a couple of comments talking about how it's something that they might want to do in the future, and how some of the contradicting thoughts might be that it might actually not make much right anymore because that has been my final goal. So I would think finding a community after you are finished your goal and comparing results would be a very beneficial part to any project. And yeah, thank you. I hope you enjoyed watching.